start my presentation. The power of reinforcement in everyday life. First of all, before we go into the power of reinforcement, I would like to talk about the reinforcers. The reinforcers basically is a stimulus. So, the first type, primary reinforcers. Basically, primary reinforcer is an unconditioned reinforcer, which is a stimulus that fulfills a biological needs and desire. Very simple, like food, waters, shelters, and clothes, which is the biological needs. So, primary reinforcer is like, for example, food reinforces a hungry animal. They need the food. This is the biological needs. So, food is the primary reinforcer. And also the waters reinforcer a thirsty one. Next type, secondary reinforcer. Its contrast with the primary one is the conditional reinforcer. This is a stimulus that comes along or associate with the primary reinforcer. For example, a significant example, money. Why we say it's secondary reinforcer? Because it comes along with the primary reinforcer. We can use money to fulfill the basic needs. We can use money to buy food, to buy drinks, to get shelter, and also to get the clothes. So, money is a secondary reinforcer. So now is only the introduction about the reinforcer. Now we are going to look at the reinforcement. Before that, I would like to present an example again for the primary and secondary reinforcer. If you also not here, you can look at this picture. From the picture, a baby is going to touch a hot teapot, which is whistling, the sound whistling. So when he hears the whistling and he touches the teapot, and at the same time he get burned. So he get burned, he feel the hurt. Hurt is the primary reinforcer, and the whistling sound at the same time is a secondary reinforcer. And he will automatically associate the whistling sound with the hot teapot. So next time, when he heard again the whistling sound, he know that he cannot touch the teapot because teapot will let him get burned. So he won't touch the teapot again when he heard the whistling sound, and he is associate the whistling sound and the hot teapot. So this is basically the example of primary and secondary reinforcement. The next, positive reinforcement. A positive reinforcement is a stimulus that occurs after a response and making the behavior more likely to happen again. And for positive reinforcement, the stimulus will be a favorable event. I explain the example. Let's say when you get OS in your exam, and your mother will reward you a new iPad. A new iPad, you desire for it and you like it very much. So we say this is a positive reinforcement because your mother is using a reward to hope that you can continue in doing well in your exam. And you will try to get the best result again so that your mother will reward you again. So next, negative reinforcement. It's a reinforcement of behavior by the removal of unpleasant stimulus. Unpleasant stimulus means you don't like it, you don't like the things. For example, you are using umbrella to avoid getting wet from raining. Getting wet, you don't like it, you don't like to getting wet. So this is the unpleasant stimulus, and you are trying not to get wet, so you are using the umbrella. So the behavior of using umbrella is maintained by the negative reinforcement. And many people will confuse about negative reinforcement and punishment. So I would like to highlight that negative reinforcement is strengthen a behavior. However, punishment is a weaken of a behavior. You punish a person and wish that he not repeat the same thing again. So it's weaken a behavior. So now I'm going to pass my mic to my
From now, perhaps you are not too sure yet what's the difference between the positive reinforcement and the negative reinforcement. So we have decided to do a very interesting kind of presentation way to show you the difference between and some of the examples from negative and positive reinforcement. So first I'll start with the negative reinforcement. Ron, on my left hand side, is wearing a short pants to MU.
Hey, Dad! Pakai macam ni tak boleh masuk. Why? Short pants, dress code, tahu tak? Pergi tukar-tukar.
So from here, he is not allowed to get into the campus because he's not obeying the dress code. And he must go back home to change long pants in order to get to campus again. So, in short, this is an example of a negative reinforcement. And the next example of negative reinforcement. So now, a very serious virus called rubella is spreading at a very fast rate. And we got the girl here, she's infected. And in order to cure this disease, she must have a vaccine injection from a doctor, certified doctor on my left hand side. So doctor, would you please? Alright, from here, although the girl is scared, but she must take the injection in order to recover. So, in short, for the negative reinforcement, a negative reinforcement is actually try to avoid an unpleasant outcome, so that you try to avoid an unpleasant outcome. So now I will move to the next example. From here, sorry, let me give you another negative reinforcement example. So let's say you come to class for the sake of attendance. The reason I'm doing it is for some people, they actually try to avoid people. Some of them try to get over 80%, and some of them just come to class for the sake. And I'm not saying that the others are actually hardworking, so I assume most of you are hardworking. Okay. So next example here, we have a positive reinforcement example. Okay, again we use Ron as our model. Ron here, he is a very hardworking student. He always study around 20 hours from week 1 until the final exam. So he always get very good results. And from this, the MU faculty dean is actually giving a very good awards. It's called the Dean Awards, and I'm going to be a dean. So, hi, you are a good achievers. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So, this is the first example of positive reinforcement, and MU is actually using a positive reinforcement as a reward and motivate, so that Ron actually that he could possibly to get good results in the future as well. So now we come to our next example for positive reinforcement. So Ron and his little sister is studying and doing their homework, and they feel quite boring and quite distracting. So here comes their mom. So because of their mother is promising them 1 hour gaming time, they actually is quite motivated. You can see their movement become faster. So I finish yet? Okay, so now it's gaming time. Okay, ready? Street Fighter 2012. Ready? Fight! So the 1 hour gaming time is over, and from here actually the mom using a positive reinforcement for giving them 1 hour gaming time so that they will actually motivated and do their homework. So in short, positive reinforcement is you try to reward you try to reward with something so that the good behavior can actually happen again and again in the future. So now I'll pass to my leaders again to make a conclusion.
Okay, alright. So I hope that from an interesting example, you all can have a better understanding about the positive and negative reinforcement in everyday life. So I just refer again. Okay, the positive reinforcement is when a behavior is rewarded. Okay, rewarded by a pleasant stimulus. So you will try to repeat the behavior again. So it's a positive reinforcement. However, the negative reinforcement is about you don't want the thing to happen, so you doing some behavior. For example, like just now, you scared about the virus, but in order to recover, you have to take the injection. So you have to take the injection which you always scared. So this is a negative reinforcement. Okay.